to start by saying congratulations to Desi Lydic and everybody who works on Desi Lydic Foxplains the News for their well-deserved Emmy wins. I'm very happy for them. It was an honor to be nominated in the same category. No sour grapes at all. The only thing that seems a little unfair is that my dog, just died. And I'm just worried that, that sympathy vote's not going to hold over for a whole year. I said feral, and people said, no, it's feral. It turns out both work, and it should never have been brought up in the first place. However, yesterday, in a closer look, I said especially instead of especially, and it turns out that one's not acceptable at all. Acceptable. By the way, I put very little work into this. I heard the Emmy Academy loud and clear. Off. You know what I mean? Here's what you're not getting from me anymore. Blood, sweat, or tears. Go check your post box, because I'm mailing it in. We said Bernie Sanders has the highest approval rating among Democrats. Bernie is an independent. So we went to the next highest on the list, the ghost of FDR. The ghost of FDR, of course, known for the famous quote, "The only thing we have to fear is me." We said Donald Trump's signature looks like an EKG of someone having a heart attack. Someone in the medical community said that would just be a straight line. Fun. I was told my Rodney Dangerfield sounded like Sylvester Stallone. Hurtful. That's crazy. So, as we've established, my Rodney sounds like this. Oh, I tell you. And then my Sylvester Stallone would sound like, I tell you, Adrian. Always telling Adrian something. Oh, this is fantastic. We talked about the film Cats and the issue they had with buttholes. If you missed it, go check out Wednesday's Closer Look for an education. But here's a long comment that I wanted to read. Regarding the movie Cats, the butthole cut was an unintentional byproduct of the film's unique visual effects, where it looked like some of the cat actors had buttholes. The film visual effects made the cats of cats looked like their skin and fur had been groomed or just folded in a way that really, really looked like very furry buttholes by accident. The job of removing, this is the important part now, if you were drifting off. The job of removing, not blurring, all of the buttholes was ultimately left to one crew member who was hired specifically to excise unintended buttholes. There was someone they brought in just for this? Does that mean there's someone who specializes in this specific thing that you call just in case of emergencies? I mean, what was that call like? Just like a dude asleep in bed, and there's beer bottles on the side table, and you can tell there's midday light. And the phone rings, and he's like, you can tell it's been a long night. And he's like, hello? And on the other line, you hear, Jake, it's Craddock. I got a job for you. And he's like, I'm retired, Craddock. Find somebody else. And he's like, it's a job only you can do, Jake. And he's like, listen up, Craddock. I'm only going to say this once. There's literally nothing you can say that would make me step foot back in your ugly, ugly world. And then there's a long pause. And then Craddock says, it's cat buttholes, Jake. Cat buttholes. And then there's another long pause, and he goes, I'll be there in an hour. Should have put on my bib before I made a meal of that. Here's a fun one. Somebody wrote in that I could take Frisbee's ashes and have them pressed into an actual Frisbee. And then they wrote, I heard that's what the inventor of Frisbee did. And then I looked it up. Lo and behold, the internet told me, yes, you can have your or a loved one's ashes put into a Frisbee by having them mixed with the plastic used during manufacturing to create a memorial disc. The inventor of the Frisbee, Walter Morrison, and the inventor of disc golf, Ed Hendrick, both had their ashes incorporated into limited edition memorial Frisbees after their death. I mean, that's amazing. I guess the only question I have now is, why the would I do that? It's a beautiful day in the park. Shall we toss around the dead? We talked about Rudy Giuliani having shrimp powers, and no, I don't remember the context. And someone said, shrimp powers, because we kind of made light about if you got bit by a radioactive shrimp, like what the powers would be. Somebody said, actually the mantis shrimp has powers you might want. The mantis shrimp has claws that look like clenched fists, and with those claws, they punch their victims at a speed of 818 miles per hour with a force of over 1,000 times their body weight. Here's a picture of the mantis shrimp.
I tell you.
It's not pronounced whooping cough. It's pronounced whooping cough. And when I heard that, I was like, what are you talking about? When I heard that, I thought, hat are you talking about? Can't take away an Emmy you didn't give me. Somebody wrote, I came for a correction. This is a comment about last week. I came for a corrections, ended up watching a 10-minute doll show. How about doing the real corrections, and then afterwards you can have your little tea party or whatever. Maybe call it Seth Plays with Dolls. Maybe I will. Maybe that'll win. Complained about my chair last week and how it ripped up. Well, guess what? The brass heard. Loud and clear. They said, we're so sorry about it. I'm like, new chair? They're like, no. But this is pretty cool. You got me this. And they got me one of these. So yeah, I kind of feel like a winner. Kate is Jackal who sent this in. She called it a Jemmy, which is Jackal Emmy. And, I would say it's, as good as the real thing. Look there. Look at that little dude. I'm only going to do this for like another 15 minutes. You don't think I will? I got nowhere to be. I don't have a new shelf to build. See you next week.